I don't think you can talk to anybody that's had a bachelor's degree or a master's or even college and don't feel a little bit taken advantage. Thomas,
Yes.
welcome back. 5 years later, we're
Yes,
back here.
indeed. It's been some time.
So you won't be done until it's done.
Well, I don't know. I guess I'm going to be kicking it around until somebody says no.
Yeah. Tell me, give me a brief review of the project that you're developing that you've been pursuing for the past 5 years. What's been the goal?
Well, the goal.
And what's been the things that you've been trying to do?
Well, my goal has been continuously ongoing since 1996, when I conceived the thought of a new industry-based vocational technical college university. Skilled trades is vitally important, and that's what I've been pursuing ever since, in various different areas. One in particular is my new website that I just put together in the last almost 2 years. And throughout the challenges we've had over the last 5 years, I believe there's a huge response in regards to a new development of such.
So you're proposing a new structure, a new way of teaching, new technology. Like, what are you proposing? You're proposing a different kind of school for the trades.
Well, it's industry based. You come to work, you're working, you're earning, and you're learning.
Okay.
It's a concept that's totally different than our traditional institutions.
So why don't we start there? How does a traditional, let's pick a trade that's like welding. You're in welding.
Yeah.
You're a young guy out of high school. You want to become a welder. Right now, what do you do in this current system?
Well, you got two things. You can stand in line waiting to get into the local colleges, and it's such a long, drawn out affair. You have to go through all the different preliminary processes, and you have to pay to get in there, of course. Where with myself, it's with this college, you come in, you're put to work, you're being taught, you're being trained, and you're consistently right through from the point that you enter, you'll be paid, right through to the point of apprenticeship starting to journeyman. So now journeyman is anywhere from 8,000 to 9,000 hours for compulsory trades. So right now, that usually takes on average 4 to 5 years. I'm doing it in 26 and 28 months.
So right now you're out of high school and you want to become a tradesman. You want to become a welder. You applied to go to a college, a trade college, and I'm assuming it's some sort of academic theory first, then a little bit of hands-on teaching.
Pretty much.
What is it, like 2 years, maybe 3 years?
I'm not quite sure how it is. I mean, they have various programs, and it just keeps you coming back until you further yourself up the line.
So however long it is, it's I'm sure it's a lot more based on theory. You come out with a basic understanding of what you need to be doing. Like, because I'm trying to understand. You're pitching me a different kind of school. Your school that is, you're saying it's better. Like, so I want to understand.
It's more direct.
How
better?
Better at doing what?
Better than the traditional process of signing up for college. You go to college and then there's no discipline there. There's no real world environment where they can actually learn and apply themselves. A lot like from a welding perspective, you're in a booth, you do a little bit of welding here and there. There's nothing that elaborates the real world of things. And then however long you choose to go down that road, then you're going to have to come out into industry. And industry's looking at students coming out of today's colleges with the hopes that they have what they require. But from my background knowledge and my research, they're not always impressed with what's coming out of the colleges.
So, from what I'm understanding is they're going into the current system of college to become a welder, and they're just not having enough real hands-on experience. And your pitch is, I don't know how it used to be done before, institutionalized learning. Am I guessing you just showed up to a work and the work trained you and got you certified, or how was it done?
Well, okay, so the flip side of that, you could join one of the local unions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then they have their process of the sitting in class doing all the theory and all that sort of the academia side, and then they take you out and they introduce you into the field slowly over a period of 4 to 5 years. So what I'm doing is far direct, more condensed,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of the 4 or 5 years, we do it in 2.5 years,
Right.
roughly.
And yours is, instead of being in a classroom, you're learning on the job site. Is that basically it?
That's pretty much what it is, and it's combined. It's both, right there, right on the, everything on the same day.
So, if you're working on you're learning, you come from zero experience and learning on the job site, who would hire these people that at least, because if you're coming out of the college, at least you can be like, you've held a torch, you've welded this, that, you've had some theory. Why would employers choose this way of having somebody with zero experience and waste the time, basically?
Well,
Invest the time. That's a lot more heavy.
well, our system is geared around the traditional institutions today, because that's all we know.
Mm-hmm.
And no one has actually stepped up to find other means for people to be trained. And the world we're living in, there is such a demand for skilled trades, but yet they don't want to look at anything that's alternative to what's available today. And that's pretty much what I'm doing. Everything it's a complete alternative process.
Mm-hmm.
You're in, you're out, you get on with your life. It's straightforward.
Yeah, no, like I understand the idea of it. I know, and I've heard enough voices in the trades saying that they don't come out with enough skills, they don't come out with enough experience to get hired. So I know that.
Yeah.
I'm just I want the people to understand, because it is a new idea. I've hired people. I know that it's expensive to hire someone that's not trained, because I have to not do my job so I can train them and be babysit them, making sure.
Yes, that's the whole idea.
I just want employers to understand, why is that better than having somebody that's maybe a little further along the learning process? Why take on that challenge when maybe it sucks for the students, but the employer at least doesn't have to carry that burden.
Well,
Like where's the silver lining for them, for the employer?
Well, for the employee, we're going to have
For the employer, not the employee.
employer.
Yeah.
For the employers, we have a sponsorship program. We'll develop one of those as well. So if there's someone that wants to, who has started in certain industries, for instance, and they want to advance in that company, then that company could send their people to us, and we'll develop them full-blown, right from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
So a student could come in and get trained right from right from an apprenticeship right straight through to a journeyman, which is only like 2.5 years under our program. And what the greatest asset behind this is when they come out, they're not just only a journeyman, but they get their red seal as well. That's vitally important for working anywhere across Canada. I know the government is trying to change things in that area too, but regardless, we need a real foundation for the skilled trades.
Yeah, I'm still lost at why, or maybe the structure of it. So your school would partner up with businesses,
Yes,
and
if they choose to, yeah.
businesses then have the option to say like, yeah, you can train people under my business, or you can bring in your
Right.
new students, and I'll hire them. We're partnered with you. You are the teacher that comes into my business and shadow them. Like I'm just trying to like the logistics.
Okay, so let's walk this back. So if I'm a young man, I'm looking for a job, or I have an interest in a trade. What do? You do two things. You either go to a union, if and they can't absorb so many.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the colleges. So it's a process that they've created for themselves. And then there's what I'm trying to do is orchestrated with a joint venture with industry to bring this together, because what it is, it's like let's say an industrial park as an example. You have a variety of institutions or companies that are making all kinds of different widgets, you could say. So through that whole process, it creates a cost-effective environment for the skills, the education, the training, and accommodates the students so that when they come out, they are employable, ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much basically the same as if you're going to just go to a general college. You get a little bit of education and skills. You come out and some company will take you on. But for the most part, the companies, they only want a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And they don't want nothing else. What I'm applying here is the fact that a student can come in, get fully trained. The choice is theirs. They could go work for a union if they choose. They could work for some other company if they choose. But they have the broad skills embedded in with them so that the companies would be benefit, and the student would benefit, because if they choose to move on down the road someday, which not everybody stays in one place, and they've got the skill and ability to move on, or advance, or even become an entrepreneur for that matter.
What do you think is like the one biggest difference between what you're proposing in the college or the union?
What's the one biggest?
Yeah, what's the biggest difference that makes it that you're making? Is it like the partnership with the
Well,
businesses? Is it the like
one big one was it doesn't cost you anything to come to this one. We pay you.
Why is it free? Who's paying for the teachers, the supplies, the time, the insurance, everything? Who's paying for that?
That's where it reflects back to, like, it's an industry base. So industry, we're building product, widgets, so on and so forth. Through that whole real world process, we are developing the students and the skills that are required for the industry to go out there.
So you're paying for the costs of the school by the students working and producing something, or
Pretty much.
or you're
It's hands-on, real world.
but again from hiring people, and I've only ever hired people that already have degrees and they're already professionals. I know it costs more money to hire somebody who doesn't know anything. They're not going to do the welds very well. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to waste product. So
Yes.
how profitable would it be just hiring people from zero, with no knowledge, to be able to just cover the expenses of everything to be free? Is there partnerships with the businesses that you want, and they pay you extra to develop?
Okay.
I'm trying to understand.
I understand. Okay. Industry. Let's just take one factory, for instance.
Yes.
Let's take an auto industry, for instance. The auto industry has a multiple of people that are semi-skilled or just come in to move the product through. That's our basic internship, if you want to put it that way. Okay, so you're coming in. So now we have the company you have the people that are making the product for that company. That company has various levels of management. People, engineering, skilled trades, the whole enchilada. So as them people come in and they're working with the product, they're also being, okay, so they're coming in for a short period of time. They do that. Then they're off onto their skills training or their education. Let's say, like you mentioned about excuse me. You mentioned about intelligence and the degrees in that. A degree is what, 3 to 4 years, depending upon what it is. So let's take a degree for somebody who wants. If we have the professors and the people that are there, that that supply the education to create the degrees and that sort of thing. Now we have that broad base of people working, making all these products and stuff for the company as a whole. Then you now if you wanted to take a degree or something, so you'd be working, then you'd come out of the work, you'd do after X amount of hours, and then you'd be doing your studies, and then you'll be we'll have accommodations for the students and all that. It's no different than any other university, only it's a real practical environment where industry is actually combined in the whole process. Still not clear?
No. I understand. Like, I mean, it's not a hard subject to understand. I'm trying to understand why the business would do it. You know, like why would a business prefer this than just hiring somebody? I'm just trying to get their point of view, right? Like, why would they? Is it cheaper? Do they end up getting better tradespeople? Like, what's the pitch to that?
Well, economically, or our country, for instance, we just require people that are skilled trained. So I know of, through my past, I know young people that have gone to different companies and they say, okay, we're going to give you the world, we're going to train you, we're going to send you to school, you're going to do this and this and this. And I believe I brought that up last time we met. The biggest thing that I found in my early days was when you look for a job, oh, you don't have enough experience. Oh, God. You know how disheartening that is? If they're a small company, they'll put the carrot in front of you and then you just follow it as long as you can, and they never really pursue what they intend to do. That's a really heartbreaking process. The other one too is, if one wants to be, okay, like myself as a welder, then you need, most people are hungry. They want something. They want to learn it. They want it right. They want it now. They don't want it trickle down down the road later on. And, if they need to make some money, our society is geared to, getting married, having children, buying a home. And I mean, the cost of things today are just outrageous. So we need an alternative that attracts the people, and through that attraction is the cost. There's no cost for them to come here, although you do have to have the ambition. If you show no ambition, I'll show you the door right away. I mean, it's a simple process. So when you come in, okay, you'll be accommodated in like any other university residence, so to speak. You're going to go to work for X amount of hours. Out of that, after that, you're going to come and you're going to study, whether it's skills or whatever it may be, and then and that's going to be a continuous cycle through a 5-week program, 5-week semester that we have developed, and it runs in 5 weeks for 7 days a week for 5 weeks. And it's so congested that you can get to the end of whatever you choose, whether it's skills or academia, education, a degree, or whatever it may be. And the process, like I said, when you have a company, the company has a floor, and then it goes all the way up in the industry management. So if you're looking for a degree and you want to come in, so you're working on the floor, you get your education. There's also jobs throughout this new college university development that gives you that hands-on or that environment. It creates that environment, or I can't think of the word I'm thinking of, like a gatekeeper. So whether it's accounting or it's engineering or whatever, we have the people that are there. So the whole entity is self-generating, and that's what we need in this society that we're in. People need to be trained, educated. But when I took my grandson to college there a number of years ago, and we were in this group of people, and it's like, okay, so we're standing in the foyer there, and they had the slats of all the things that the college is going to do, and the first thing out of their head, off the top of their conversation was, this is how we can finance you. And you look at the people in today's society, and it's like, oh my God, how are we going to do this? And you want to do the best you can for your kids. Understandable. That's the way we roll. But and then we went on and on and on, and it's like, there's got to be a different solution to that, and there is. I'm developing it.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's the way that the institution of past secondary learning is very profit driven. Very, you take a loan, they keep raising the price. It's
yes, indeed.
I don't think you can talk to anybody that's had a bachelor's degree or a master's or even college and don't feel a little bit taken advantage, a little bit of like they overpaid. When you buy a product or a service, how you feel. Where like I got more than what I paid for. I got a good deal.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of people that say like, you know what, university, my degree, I got a good deal.
Here's another one too. Like, this is going back a number of years ago when my son got married, and I remember I was standing in a group of university grads, right? So I hypothetically said, so hey guys, in your program, how many? Or I should say, whatever they were following. What part of your programs will absolutely mean nothing to you once you leave school? Mm-hmm. And about every one of them said one or two different things that they had to take that have nothing to do with what they, and will never be applied outside of that. So I mean, you ever see those little papers? You fold them all up and you take the scissors and you cut a little thing out and you open it all up. That's the expression I have of universities and the colleges in some respect. They're out. I understand they became more of a business in the early 80s. And I saw that because twice I worked for a different institution. Once in 85 at the college, and again at the same college in 2010. And the cost was just astronomical, and the time frame, and it's like, my God. I took a 10-month or a 1 year, it was, what was that? It was a 10-month course, welder fitter program in 1982, 83. And it cost me like $700. Taxes in for 10 months.
Wow.
Today it would probably cost you $4 or $5 grand, or maybe more. I'm not sure. It's insane. So, is there a need? Yes, there is. our students, when they come in from education side, so there's two sides. There'll be skills and training and education academia. When they come in over the 5-week program, we pay them like 3,000 plus. The skilled trades will be 6,000 plus because it's a little bit more condensed and they're just go. It's nonstop. There's a term called instillment. If you're learning something, especially a skill or a trade or something like that, it has to become you, if I can express it in such a way, that when you're finished your apprenticeship, you understand. You can almost like go to the job that has to be done and you know exactly what you need. And it's the way it should be. And then on the academia side, just like I expressed, like whether it's a 4-year degree, then the 4 years is just no different than the 4 years for an apprenticeship. It'd be 26, 28 months.
Yeah.
There's no reason why not. I mean, do you have to have every weekend off? Do you have to have March breaks? All this kind of stuff.
You do to write your exams.
Yeah, I mean, and here we are. I mean, so you write your exam every 5 weeks. You have an exam to cover the basics that you've learned so far.
Yeah, no. I think everybody, especially in the trades, agrees that there's not enough hands-on. There's not enough there's not enough good teachers.
There's another one. Let me stop you there for a minute. About 10 years ago, I touched base with an engineer. And I was voicing myself about an article I got years back. And it says, an engineer wrote into a magazine, he said, to their knowledge, 1975 was the last time it was a prerequisite prior to entering into the skills of, prior to entering into disciplines of mechanical, electrical, and civil. You had to have a journeyman background. That's been all washed away. But yet, in their archives, they still have that. But they never applied it. So, and just recently, I come across an engineer. Oh, I'm an engineer. And I said, oh yeah. I said, so what's your background knowledge? I mean, where's your practical side of it? And he says, oh, a little bit. I'm going, okay. So, on that note, I can almost bet money. You can ask any engineer, one right off the street, would you engineer today? Would you engineer yesterday? Last month, last year? Guaranteed it's not there. They've gone through the engineering classes, I'm an engineer, and then you have to work 4 years as being an engineer, then another 4 years under a PEng before you can become a PEng. I mean, it's quite the show, I must say. My opinion, anyway.
You're right now in the industry, manufacturing industry. Can I ask you what's been the reception and for the Trump tariffs? How's it not being received? I don't care about the emotions. I mean, like real work. Like I said, are people being laid off? Are people reducing production?
Well, I think there's a bigger political story behind all this that's going on today. A lot of people don't quite understand it. I don't fully understand it. I honestly believe 100% it's all political. And the destruction part of it, disruptive I mean, is through their political games, I would like to say.
Maneuvering.
People are hurting because the people are being used as a pawn in the game of chess, and that's what I call the whole darn thing. It's
but if we put the emotions aside, how are businesses, reducing workers? Are businesses trying to, find new places to sell their product? Like, what do you see in the background happening, tactically?
Well,
Or is it just business as usual, kind of on a waiting game?
it goes back a long time. Probably the 60s. And I got documentation, I got all kinds of stuff, but manufacturing, they've slowly outsourced it over 3-4 decades. And now, I don't know if you've noticed, a lot of people don't, but if you look around in downtown or in any city, you got health this, health that, service companies everywhere. And it's like, what are we doing here? Where's the manufacturing base?
Mm-hmm.
Here's a prime example. I heard recently, I was at a meeting, and up in the Kitchener-Waterloo area, they're promoting that there will be 1 million people in the next 10 or 15, 20 years in that general area. So on the flip side of that, they were saying now we have to get a manufacturing base to accommodate the people for that. And it's like, well, where's the manufacturing? How do you get the manufacturing? The people are manufacturing. If you're not training and developing the skills that are required to build, manufacture, maintain it with the skills of maintenance and that sort of thing with the trades, then a lot of what we're hearing is bullshit to me. We need substance, and what I'm offering is substance.
Yeah.
We need it.
So you haven't seen anything happening in the background right now?
Well, we have our governments. They always.
But like at your job,
On my job?
Yeah, like I'm talking about real,
Well, okay, on my job, I see.
Are shifts being cut short, or do
No,
we see
well,
anything?
no, okay. Do you remember going through COVID? There was the essentials.
Yeah.
Essential people continued to work.
Yeah.
I'm in one of those essential environments. So we're actually hiring where other areas will be laying off. And so from my perspective, from my work environment, no, we're busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming that we will be because we're in energy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, excuse me. So, but other companies, it can hurt quite a lot.
Mm-hmm. So I guess it depends on the industry.
Well, I mean, they're talking raw materials and stuff like aluminum and all that stuff. You hear that on the news. So, I mean, government. I talked to a gentleman there not too long ago, and he summarized it like this. He says, if government rhetoric was a currency, we'd be rich in bullshit. But unfortunately, all we have is bullshit. Because there's more rhetoric out there than there is factual. Yeah. And we got to step away from the illusionary side of life and get into something that's real. And I'm offering something that's real.
Where can people learn more about you? What's your call to action here?
My call to action? Well, I'm here to ask people to check out my website, look at what I'm doing, think of his children. Where are they going? What are they doing? What opportunities are available outside of the traditional standard processes? And we need to change. Mm-hmm. We seriously need to change.
You have an event coming up.
I do.
Can you tell me about it?
Well, I joined the Chamber of Commerce recently over the last, 6 months or so. And so they send out little things every once in a while. So there's an industrial show coming up April 16th. And I'm promoting this here at College University. I've got 4 banners that'll be displayed there in detail of what we're going to do, it shows the history from 1960 right straight through, and the outsourcing and the government and how things have changed so much. It's interesting, and I'm hoping that industry will actually make an inquiry into what I'm doing. I can relay them my business plan if they want to really step up and see what's going on, because that's where it starts. I need a board of directors too. That's one of the key assets from when I first started this. It was I made my first cold call to a gentleman who used to work for Merrill Lynch Canada. When he reviewed my whole business plan, he said right off the hop, he said, "You're going to need a strong and powerful board of directors." And I understand why. I mean, you look at our institutions today. Do you think for a moment they want me and what I'm producing, promoting? Most likely not. But do people want it? Well, the kids need it. Yes. Parents need it. I reach out to the parents. The parents need something that's helpful for them to help their kids. It's the most positive approach in life. Because I look at my grandkids today and it's like, geez, what are they going to do? And I see the system and it's not there for them.
Where's this event is for what? What's the purpose of it?
Oh, I think it's basically a where all the industry comes into play.
Like a job fair? Or?
Like a job fair thing, I guess.
Yeah.
I've never been to one. Well, I've been to a bigger one in Toronto, but this one's just in the general area, I believe.
So where's it located? What date? And you guys people want to come
different
visit
industries,
you.
what they're doing, and gets people involved, and maybe I guess it's to help. I mean, as the public comes through, they see what's going on in industry, and it kind of it gets them interested in skills and work.
When is it?
April 16th at Bingman Park.
Bingman Park. Where is that?
That's in Kitchener.
Kitchener. Okay,
And
so people want to stop by then.
Yeah, and it's from 2 to 7.
2 to 7. Come see your banners.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, we'll see. If people want change, then we'll change.
Yeah.
But if we're going to remain as a leash society, then we're going to be there. Choices are simple. Either traditional or alternative.
Mm-hmm.
And so many times over the last 20 plus years, the government is so illusionary and nothing is practical. So I'm offering the real deal, nothing, no illusions. You come in, you go to work, you learn. When you leave, you've got everything that industry needs.
What do you? What's missing until you can have your first student?
Pardon me?
What's missing until you can have your first student come in?
I didn't hear that correctly. Sorry.
Like, what's missing until you can have your very first student go through
come
your
in?
program? Yeah.
I need greater interaction with the corporations of Canada, because now that's another story. Now, whether they want to engage in something like this either, I don't know, but we'll shall see. That's the whole process. We truly need to have industry. I got an email. Email me. Let me show you the product. Let me show you what's going on, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, I think like you're saying, first step would be a pilot program, right? You don't need to launch everything at once. You can pilot it with one business, one partnership, and try it, right?
Well, I've been asked that many times whether it's a pilot program or not. Okay, so let's just say.
Forget that word. I'm saying that could be the first step, a smaller step. One partnership with one business that wants to try it different.
Well, it's the orchestrated process with multiple industries that once they see and understand the business, then we can build multiple business to accommodate the flow of the people and the industry. See, the industry, there's a huge asset, there's a huge benefit for them too, cost-wise, people, product. I mean, part of my program is we have 5 Ps. It's called Progressive Process of Product, People, and Profession. That's what it's all about. It's not like a pilot program where, you have like maybe a small company and it doesn't apply itself in such a way. This is where I need a consortium of industries to come together and we'll build this. Pilot program would be fine if from an academia perspective, because from the skills and training perspective, I need a huge environment. I need to build stuff. I need cranes and machines and all that stuff.
Right.
From a pilot program for academia, yeah, we could probably do it that way. But then that only applies to so much too, right?
Right.
So
Well,
it's when I had my first evaluation from an accountant, he says, you're going to need a strong board of directors. He also said the same thing. You need a board of directors. You need to get the colleges and universities on board. You need to get government on board. Well, maybe I shouldn't bastardize them as much as I do on Twitter.
maybe make some friends.
Well, I mean, I just don't like chasing, like a dog chasing his tail. I mean, here it is. You got my website. You got my email.
Yeah.
And we'll start there. Sign a non-disclosure and see what you think.
Right.
Simple.
Thomas.
Although, it's just not in me to, I touched base with this one guy from Oakville here too. I came down a number of years ago, and he was quite interested in me. So I sent him my stuff. He said, "Come on down, have a talk." We had a talk. He said, "I really want to engage in what you're doing once you get this thing going." And see, that's once you get this thing going.
Well, nobody wants to do you the favor. Nobody wants to carry the burden for you. Everybody wants to jump on when something's successful, right?
Absolutely, I agree. So on that note, when I went to see him, he says, so I was touching base with another college. And so I was kind of conversing back and forth with him, and I said, I got a connection with this guy up here. He was a professor of some sort. And so he's telling me, he says, you gotta walk the talk. You gotta, work these guys. I'm going, I can't do that. I mean, it is what it is. Either you know or you don't. You want or you don't. I mean, okay, here's another one too. So since I joined the Chamber of Commerce, I've been flashing my cards around, which I will show you after. I meant to give it to you when we first started. So it's been circulating. So this one young fellow, he calls me up, he says, Mr. Forbes, he emailed me, he says, my brother told me about what you're doing. I'm really interested in your apprenticeship program. He wants to be an electrician. And it's heartbreaking because I've had numerous people, younger, he was like in his 20s, I think, 21, 22, prime age. And I had to email him back and says, I'm absolutely ecstatic the fact that you're interested, but this is where I'm at. And we're not open yet, but we will be. And so I'm actually thinking of reaching back out to him again and saying, well, why don't you join me on my show, on the industrial show? I mean, people are going to be coming by, they're going to be questioning various things. And if I can just say, well, here's a young fellow looking for an electrician, like an apprenticeship for an electrician, I would almost think that he might gain some employment almost immediately.
Right.
So actually, I got to do that this week. I never got to him yet. But
No, we need change. We need discussion. See what other people have, ideas to make the system better, because we know it needs to be better, right? But
well, like I said, backing this up, in our general area, they want manufacturing. Well, where do you get it? It just doesn't materialize
no.
overnight. It's people, it's buildings, it's construction, and they want the trades. They want. Through COVID, I follow a lot of different areas, and the government, they had all these different pilot programs for skills. They're bringing in the skills. Well, then where's the skills? They're bringing in immigration, but I don't see no skills. If with all the people they brought in and they voiced themselves, this is the illusionary side of things again. If they voice themselves in such a way, then we would be overloaded with skills. But we're not. So something wrong there too.
Many things wrong.
Many things wrong.
Let's wrap it up.
Okay.
Thank you for coming by. Thank you for reconnecting again after a while.
I appreciate you reached out to me 5 years ago, and I
Yeah.
reached back out to you. It's a pleasure.